Morning, everyone. How are we, beautiful people, this morning? Here I am doing the second series, part 2 of contented living, contented mindset, contented life, however you want to put it. This is part 2. By the way, the first one I deleted accidentally, and they won't let me put it back there. I'm trying. So if it does come back 2 or 3 times, that's why, because I've tried 2 or 3 times, and I'll delete the extras when I am aware of the post actually going through. But it's annoying because I really thought it was good, and for some reason Facebook's not letting me repost it. They let me post it the first time, but the first one might have also just been a short of the original. The original went for 50 minutes, so I'm just not sure how it came out, because I changed my settings for some reason as well, and that might have interfered with stuff, which is all very annoying. By the way, let me throw in this. See the way my beanie's sitting right now? I came up with this last night. See that? To me, that's cool. To me, that's personalised. I don't know if anybody knows, but I want to go, when I go on the road soon, I'm actually moving into my car, and I'm going to live in my car or van. It's a 4-wheel drive van. I'm going to move into it. I was hoping to move into a motorhome, but couldn't afford to keep it. Had to sell it to put the money into my house. So, I'm now moving into my car. But it is what it is. It's okay. The problem is I've got a cat and a dog. Cat's going to be the problem. Anyway, see this beanie? The way it's sitting? Well, that happened accidentally last night. And one of my ideas when I go travelling is to make beanies and personalise them and sell them at the markets. So an idea on top of that idea is to make the beanie, I could stitch it or whatever to make it permanently like this. I could even, when I do the fabric, it's all going to be done by hand. When I do the fabric on this particular design will be loose on one side, like just exactly like that. So when the owner of the beanie puts it on, it'll always look like that. And then another with different colours and their own name written in. And then other designed beanies will be other designs. This particular beanie is quite thin material, so for where I live it doesn't get too hot. In Victoria I might want to use fabric that's thicker, whatever, you know. And I might want to even use thinner material than this. I have done some with real thin material, just to take the chill off. If you're a male and you've got thin hair or bald and you live in Queensland, well, just a little, very thin little beanie can be a good answer to keeping that chill off. So I'm going to cater for all of that when I get the time. Working all the time robs us of our actual time to be creative and do things that we've always wanted to do, or that our subconscious brain has always wanted to do, but we've never had the time to realise what it is because we're busy working, you know. So me moving into my car is a representation of me experimenting with this process that I'm sure is out there in all of us, and I just want to try that for a while. Anyway, whoops, that's right. Okay, so starting off, I just want to reiterate the last point on the first part of this series. And what was it? Yeah, that's what it was. Respect others. All the time, everybody. Why be rude or why be thoughtless? Why be short with people? Simply because we're busy in our own lives. Don't do that, because that becomes a habit, and then it becomes who you are. And like I said in that first video, or that first vlog, we all matter to each other. We're all important in each other's lives. Our very happiness depends on our relationships with others, not just people you cherry pick, but everybody, and in ways we don't fully understand or can't understand or may not realize. You know, I mean, it's an important habit to create. The point is, it's an important habit to create, to respect and appreciate everybody. Like a couple of blokes just passed me back there. He made a funny comment about my dog. I took the time to stop. I turned around, gave him a smile, gave him a laugh, and I made eye contact with both. And it felt good. We made a connection in the morning. It was a positive way to start the day. They looked a little rough around the edges, but who am I to judge? I mean, look at me. You know what I mean? So it was great. Anyway, so I just wanted to reiterate that point. It's a lovely tree. I love it when the leaves change this time of the year. I might let her off to run around here. I tell you what, often I don't feel like actually starting the vlog, but then when something happens and then when I've decided I'm going to start it, I get quite excited. It feels good. And that's a point, actually. It's fun doing this sort of stuff, being expressive. I've realised that I'm an expressive personality. I'm pretty sure that's who I am. I'm trying to work out who I am, and being on the road is going to help me do that. Going to give me that time. Hey, come on. Here, you're getting too far ahead. I think I'm an expressive personality, and I really want to experiment with that. Anyway, doing these vlogs is great. It's a form of self-expression, isn't it? And it's also one of the only ways I can get a word in edgewise in my everyday life without being cut off and talked over or ignored. So yeah. And reiterating on another point in the last vlog, was doing for others can actually give us escapism from our own lives, which is good to do sometimes, no matter who you are, where you live. Escapism from your own mind, your own life, your own priorities is a great thing to do, especially if you're single. I suppose, if you have children, investing yourself into them is a form of escapism. Maybe that's why a lot of us do it. And maybe escapism's not the right word in that scenario or that situation. But for a single person, myself, I think it's healthy for me to have, here's an ant's nest. I bet you that's an ant's nest. No, just a leaf. I think escapism is a healthy thing to do regardless of who we are. And helping others is a productive form of escapism. I've realised, I've figured this out. A lot of the points in these vlogs are my own realizations. And escapism's a good thing, especially if you can't actually afford a holiday. Well, you can have a little holiday from yourself by investing your time, or effort's not the right word either, but your time and your helping hand or your assistance with somebody else, if reasonably safe and okay and reasonable to do so. It's a wonderful thing. Come here. Just gotta, she's off the leash. I can't let her just go for it in case some big crazy dog comes along. Good girl. So that's all. I just wanted to reiterate that point. Doing for others is a form of escapism, a really positive form of escapism, and it doesn't cost us anything. Usually only our time. And we've all got plenty of time. What's it matter? So that's it. On to the next point. I guess it's fitting to add in, leading from that last point, I think it was, or the second last point. A quote by a famous psychologist. I better not say his name here because I might get done for the copyright that they're doing me on the last one. At least that's what it's saying. Don't die with the music in you. So that's something I'm going to have, and it might not even be his original quote. I don't think it is. Don't die with the music in you. I want to get out on the road and get time to find out who I am. What do I want to do when I have the time and get bored enough to do stuff? So that's an important point for happiness and contentment. Try to tap into your expressivity or expressivity, whatever it is, be expressivity. Okay, we'd all have it to varying degrees. Try and tap into that, because that gives us that can give us a lot of contentment, happiness, frustration, and all of that, but in a healthy way. Expressiveness, like this vlog, is a form of there's a nice little bush scene. There's a way to get contentment, I think, so I'll add that on the list right now. Let's remember not to let the music die in us. All right? Okay, on to the next point. Next point, social media. I think for me, social media, Facebook, I don't really listen or watch the others. I have tapped into a few of them, but I'm just used to the format of Facebook. I think it's a great way to help with contentment and happiness in life, because if you manage it right, and by manage I mean block negative stuff, block violent stuff, block it, don't just ignore it, but try and block it so it never comes back, and only seek the inspirational, the educational, the humorous. It's a great form of entertainment if managed properly. If I can be honest, I think I'm slightly addicted to it, so I'm going to try and rein that in. It's hard though. But I only have positive stuff on my Facebook, and I just find Facebook really a great way to start the day. I mean, I get bombarded with these happy memes and jokes and photos and inspirational quotes and things like that. So social media, if managed correctly, is a great source of contentment in life, if managed and monitored productively. Okay, I think so. It's on the list. And communication with others, that tapping in with our friends and extended friends and people that aren't even our friends yet. It's a great way to stay connected and share what we deem as important things with each other, whether it be vlogs like this or photos of our holidays or thoughts we're having. Again, if done sensibly, respectfully, and educationally and inspirationally. Here's some more Australian bush. It's not typical Australian bush in this area, or is it? Some of the plants are planted in the park here, but this is beyond the park, and I guess that is typical Australian bush in the area. There's a river down there, or a waterway. I think this finishes off from the last point actually too. I've just got it on the list. Don't talk hate. Okay, frustration is reasonable in life. We all get frustrated, but don't get mixed up or confused with getting into the habit of hating anything. Hate in your life or our life should be a really rare occurrence. You know what I mean? Because hate can become a habit, and then it can consume us, and we become hateful on everything, and we start to become miserable, and it starts to rot us out. So, don't develop the habit of hate. Frustrations, yes, and other words. Come here. Frustrations, yes, but not hate. And, really analyse that and analyse hate. Hate's such a common thing these days. But hate, in fact, is a really extreme word. Look it up, and I think we instinctively know it anyway. And hate can lead us to character assassinating other people in our lives or people we know, and gossip. And that simply means you're too involved in somebody else's life in a negative way. If you don't like them, or if they bug you, or if they're a drain on you, detach, disassociate in a loving, friendly way. But getting around rubbishing them and all of the rest of it to everybody or to people and carrying that frustration or that hate, carrying it is detrimental to your happiness and contentment. The other person or the other people don't know your even doing it usually the case. So you're just eating out yourself with this hate, and you're sharing that hate with other people, and they're getting sucked into it all. Don't do that. Just detach, disassociate, and chase happiness, chase contentment. Really important. Another point is, how do we make others feel in our life with our words and actions? You know, courtesy and respect are the basic foundations of making others feel good, like I said in another point. Courtesy and manners. And then other additive words too, compliments, genuine ones, where and when appropriate. Offering to help here and there and everywhere. Opening a door for somebody. Closing a door. Grabbing that person's plate. Without coming across as their, butler or maid. But just doing little things for each other. Cooking a meal for somebody if they're there. Offering to do this and offering to do that. It's all a cumulative contentment in your own life. Yes, you might be washing somebody else's dish or getting their dish. Big deal. If you're doing it with the right attitude, you're giving yourself a gift of inclusion in somebody else's life, and that other person is, if not vocally, quietly grateful for what you've done, and you know that, and that's going to make you feel good. That's just a small example, and it's just another moment added to the day where we are creating contentment and happiness in our life by doing for others when uncalled for too, but just when appropriate, when nice, when needed. Pick up on other people's vibes, and that'll help. Okay, pick up on other people's perspectives, or try to, learn to, because if we can do that, we can start to understand how they're feeling in that moment and what they're going through. And, it's important. But again, our very happiness, our very life depends on our cohesion with others in society. Not necessarily people you've just cherry-picked, but everybody. Come on. Okay? So try and, in every situation, try and put yourself in somebody's situation where they're at in that moment. Depending on the work they're doing, how they're looking, do they appear tired, do they appear sad? And then give your feedback accordingly in a helping, assistful way. Why? Because it's going to make them feel good. Come here. It's going to make them go around. Good girl. Come here. It's going to go around. It's going to make them feel good. And it's also going to make you feel good. Why? Because you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing is supportive. And they're probably going to let you know that in subtle ways. And that's going to make you feel good. And yeah. And you're just leaving a trail of good karma, good vibe everywhere you go. You know what I mean? Which is giving you all this positive feedback in your life. And that's going to be creating happy moments, happy minutes, happy hours, happy days in your life, or in our lives. Or at the very least, contented minutes, contented hours, contented days, with good lashings of happiness. Let's get to know ourselves more. Enjoy and celebrate you. That's what I'm starting to do. I'm starting to look internally, not externally, towards celebrities or whoever. I'm starting to turn the attention into me. Now, when you start doing that, it feels selfish. But I think it's a natural way to be. And you don't have to make it selfish. It'll just feel that way, but it's not necessarily the case, because we're doing all these other things that I'm suggesting and other stuff where we know we do as well. But a lot of us aren't necessarily focused on ourselves, and I think it's good to analyse that and ask yourself, am I giving myself enough attention? And I'm probably not, you know. I could be looking a little bit more cleanly shaven and stuff for these videos, and for the way I dress and my weight. So that's something I've got to start really working on, because the way I look externally and internally, but certainly externally as well, is really important, and I don't pay enough attention to that. It's something I've got to work on, and I'm becoming aware of that. Come on. Oh, you want to go down there? Oh, I'll let her run down there. Enjoying and celebrating ourselves seems a little vain, but who cares if it is? I don't know. But we are the most important person in our life. We really are. And we've got to look after ourselves. We've got to celebrate ourselves. We've got to build our own confidence. These vlogs are a representation of me building my own confidence in myself, and fuck anybody that thinks I shouldn't be doing them at my age, with my amount of experience and the books and all that I've read over my life. You know what I mean? You don't know what I've done, where I've been. And so if you do want to cast a negative shadow on these vlogs, I love you, but you don't have any right to try and bring me down. A bit like the person in that first video with the drug comment. Okay, let's get rid of that thinking, and let's cheer me on expressing myself. And everything I'm saying here is very reasonable and productive. So it doesn't make sense that you would want to bring that down if you are bringing it down in your mind and maybe to others. It doesn't make sense. It's really unproductive and negative, and you're robbing yourself of happiness and contentment, because remember, contentment happens second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour. It's not the result at the end of the day. It's all these moments throughout the day we want to be caught up in contentment. Okay? Here's an important point, and they're all sort of, well, not all of them, but a lot of them sound similar, but they are different. And this point is simply, we can't go wrong if we only say good or complimentary things to each other and about others. And that's something I'm trying to get into the habit of, is to not say anything bad or negative or spiteful or whatever it might be about anybody. You know, and it creates a great mindset to try and get rid of negative crap about other people. It's always other people, isn't it? Whether they're a politician or a celebrity or somebody we know. It's just good to not get into the habit or lose the habit of having negative thoughts or saying negative things about people. All right? We just can't go wrong if the only things that come out of our mouth are complimentary and good. Nobody can ever say anything about us because we've never said or done anything bad about or to anybody else. So we sort of become, well, invisible can be one word, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but you fly under the radar if you're not putting yourself out there with, you know, opinions, negative opinions. It'll add to your peace if you can fly under the radar. Everything you say about everybody's nice, complimentary. You know, you're not going to have any flack come back at you. In theory, people are going to lose negative opinions about you because you're only saying good and positive things genuinely. We need to genuinely see the good in each other, because we've all got good in us. We've all got wonderful good in us. So why cherry pick negative points about people? If you're taking the time to do that, it means you're too involved in that person's life. Why? You're only robbing yourself of time and happiness. They don't know or give a shit. And I think this sort of very close to a point I made earlier. So I don't mean to get mixed up. But it's a really important point, one worth repeating. Here's a point maybe I should have started off with, well, not necessarily, but I'm embracing female mentality. Now, I don't know if mentality is the right word. I'm trying to embrace or take note of or study, observe, get involved with the way women or females live their lives. Women live their lives. Mature-minded women. Because there's a lot there for me to learn as a man or a male. Too often, if not all the time, us blokes get too caught up in trying to be men. And I think there's even possibly underlying competitions on who's the bigger man. Well, not even possibly, it's certainly the case. And so I think subconsciously we're always trying to not be a bigger, better man, but certainly at least be a man, attain manhood, if manhood's the word, malehood, shall we say. Because what is a man, you know what I mean? I don't know. I still don't know. And with these vlogs, I may not sound very manly either, but that's the whole point here. I think too often as men we inhibit our emotions because, well, in my culture at least, manhood's all about being tough and rough and you can do everything and know everything. And we get a little bit too caught up in that to the point where it can become quite toxic, I think, and unhealthy for ourselves and rob us of our contentment, rob us of our second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day contentment. Okay, getting too caught up in trying to be a man and comparing yourself to the next man. Well, I mean, it's a waste of time. I'm never going to be as strong as some blokes. I'm never going to know as much as some blokes. I'm never going to be as tough as some blokes. So coming to realise that and knowing my own limits is really important, and then tapping in to the way females communicate is, I think, going to help me. And I think a lot of these vlogs are actually coming from me tapping into my feminine energy. And I think I've always been prone to having high levels of feminine energy anyway, possibly. I mean, I'm a highly emotional person, inside at least. I don't get around crying all the time, but I do shed a tear or two, especially after a few beers, on sad things. So anyway, I think it's a productive thing for us men to start doing. This is an important point for us blokes, and that is start observing the way women carry themselves. Okay, you know, most all productive, mentally healthy, responsible women. There's a lot to learn there. It makes me emotional just thinking about it, actually, because if we don't, as men, we're missing out on a lot. See, here we are. For some reason, that's making me get teary, and I really don't know why. But can you imagine not tapping into female energy and missing out on the power and the wonder of the way women communicate and the way women treat each other and treat us men? And to ignore that in your own life is I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say the wrong word. It's a shame. It's a shame if we don't tap into, or at least be aware of that, like consciously aware of the power and the beauty of the way women communicate and the way they treat each other. We miss out as men. We miss out as men not hugging each other as much. Like women, they'll walk up and they'll hug each other. How are you, darling? And you can just tell that they're not inhibited with this got to be a man crap. They're so much more loving, and I would say they would experience much higher levels of love and contentment in their lives. And don't they have longer lifespans? And it's probably because of that. So let's try and tap into that. I mean, we still want to maintain our masculinity, so it can be tricky. I mean, if I wasn't as in touch with my emotions, I'd be embarrassed by these tears right now. But I'm above that now. I've lost my concerns about other people that might have negative viewpoints on it. And that's empowering. If somebody wants to give me a hard time over that, well, that's their problem. It's not mine. It really is their problem. I have emotions. I'm allowed to cry. It feels good. It's appropriate. Well, it was appropriate for me just then. Okay, so I'm going to spend the rest of my life observing women and trying to pick up on how they communicate, what they do, how they do it, when they do it, and I'm in the hopes that that's going to improve my emotional health, emotional life, and life in general, and I'm going to get more contentment, second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour. Okay, so yeah, don't ignore that. Let's look into it. That's what I'm doing, and it's great, and it also gives us, it's important to have an inquisitive mind. It's so important to have an inquisitive mind all the time, moving forward. Every year I'm picking up on different ideas and different hobbies and different interests, and it makes life interesting. And picking up and observing women is just another example of that. It's such a productive thing to do, is to have an inquisitive mind, and like I say, that's an example of it. And if I didn't have an inquisitive mind, I wouldn't have come up with that idea, as obvious as it is. Bottom line is, don't let your culture, the culture you live in, because that's what it is, don't let your culture rob you of your quality of life simply because you're a bloke and you've got to be what the culture you live in expects. Fuck that. Tap into what you think is healthy for you and your personality. Ignore other things that people have said that, when analysed, you realise is unproductive for you. Who are you? And don't be ashamed of who you are. Try and zoom out a bit. There we are. She's still on the run. I'm going to get her and put her on a little lead. Somebody's left their pants behind. As you do, we get a couple of characters through this park from time to time. Another point, I guess, I don't think I've said it, but it's related, and that is, it's its own separate point, and that is, embrace your personality. We've all got personalities, as they say, and that is the case, isn't it? We're all sort of different. But we need to embrace that personality, and if it's got some issues, if you're not happy with it, well, that's the point, or one of the points to these videos, is to these vlogs, is to fine-tune that personality and try and get rid of anything negative, and grab some positive stuff and start running with that. And that's how we fine-tune our personalities. Okay, so step one is to embrace your personality. She's just going to love it out on the road. She's just had a swim. She's wet. I don't even know where she did that. Somewhere. So she's going to have a field day when we get out on the road. Anyway, embrace your personality. But to do that, you've got to find out who you are, and you've got to be brave enough to identify your vulnerabilities. Because I would think, by identifying our personal or personality vulnerabilities, only then can we start to build positive steps from there and improvements, you would imagine. I'm only realizing that as I'm saying it. Okay, so that's that point. Really important point, because if you can't identify who you are, or at least start the journey, start the search, how are you? Here comes somebody. I better press pause. if you can't identify, I've lost my train of thought a little bit, but if you can't identify your weak points, your points to be improved on, if you're not brave enough to do that, emotionally tough enough, because you might see your weaknesses, if you can't, or if we can't do that, well, how are we going to grow? How are we going to improve? Okay, so there you go. So that's that point. And last point, because I don't want to go on for too long. Shit, this is 35 minutes. Last point is, when you feel you've attained acceptable personality boundaries or whatever it might be, I don't even know if that's the way to describe it, but when you feel you've got something productive, and when you feel you've, got your personality in check, your manners, your respect, your thoughtfulness, your ability to do those things that I've mentioned previous points in this video, in this vlog, and in the other, and others that you can come up with, when you feel you've done all of that, well then share that, give that. That's the whole point of all of this. Share that goodness, share that help, share that support, share that experience. Doing vlogs is one way to do it. That's why I suppose I'm doing these vlogs. I think it's a subconscious act on my behalf. I've just reached a point in my life where I feel like it hasn't honestly been a really conscious thought. It's just been a natural progression of me wanting to share what I think are helpful, productive formats or mindsets for us to be aware of. You don't even have to follow them, and a lot of us probably are. But it's just important to be aware of these things, and are we or aren't we? And that's interesting. And we can all learn from each other. Okay? So that's the point here, and it's the last one. I'll finish up. And that is, let's share ourselves with each other if it's productive and helpful and inspirational, which it will be if you're always working on how to be the best version of yourself that you can be. I'm a bit too close with the camera, I think. I might even get a little selfie stick. So that's it. That's the end of this vlog, part 2. And I will do part 3 sometime in the future. Hopefully Facebook lets me download this. I don't know what the problem is with the other one. Like I said, if it gets put on Facebook 2 or 3 times, you'll know why, and I'll delete all of them except for one when I see it. Alright, so that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. It's really a wonderful day here. And remember, every day started with a walk in the park with your dog, or even on your own, or with your partners. A great way to start the day. It really is. And here I am. I've got the stomach muscles engaged. I've got the arse muscles engaged. I've got the head here. As I walk along, I can feel the head's balancing. That's how I feel. Remember, I'm not running, I'm walking, I'm strolling. I suppose I'm in a strolling stance. And you want to be in that position, I think, or in that stance, or that position, when you're walking through the park, so we can take it in. The trees are falling in front of my eyeballs everywhere I turn. This is how I walk when I don't have the camera. When I got the camera, I'm down here. I should really do the next vlog at this angle, with the arm up here. That's what I'll do, because that is how we're supposed to be walking. It is how I am walking when I'm in the parks, and it's a good example for me to do. Alright, so that's it. Peace out, everybody. Have a wonderful day.